In Luke chapter 6, verse 38, it says, Give and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Joyce and I were the first Indian couple to get married in our family of churches. This was in 1989. It was a beautiful wedding. Even today, when I see a couple walk down the aisle, I get teary-eyed. God has taken us over the years from Mumbai to Delhi and now to Bangalore. There have been so many great memories along the way. In the late 80s and early 90s, many Nepali men and women started becoming disciples in our family group. It put a thought in the leadership's mind to plant a church in Kathmandu, and today there are many disciples in Nepal. It was not planned by us, but it was certainly ordained by God. There are many stories like that, and I'll share a few today. One day, Joyce went for a follow-up to a sister's home, and because it was a little late in the evening, she decided to take a shortcut instead of her regular route. While taking this new route, she discovered that there were people living on a drain hidden behind a vegetable market. The people were lepers. Joyce observed them and thought about them and came home. And then, after reflecting for some time, she said, Can we ask the church if we can do something for the leprosy patients? Mark and Nadine were very willing. And so we quickly took medicines and a few blankets because it was very cold and they were struggling without protection. They were grateful and they were thankful. And I'll never forget those scenes on the very first day. The entire church, we were a small church at that time, we all walked late evening into the leprosy colony. It's a moment that will remain with me for the rest of my life. Unfortunately, there was a fire in that colony a few days later, and many homes were razed to the ground, about 50 of them. One of the ladies, because a kerosene stove had exploded on her, she had many burn wounds all over her body. And a couple of the disciples put a mosquito net over the cot and were tending her wounds. And when this was happening, because of all the situation around them, a lady walked into the colony and she saw Saji and Jolly taking care of this lady. And she said, Who are you people? I normally see people in conferences. Very rarely do I see them in slums. She said, Can you please have your people call me? She left her number. We called her and found out that she was the daughter of the then President of India, Mr. R. Venkataraman. The lady's name was Padma. She turned out to be an angel, a friend, and today, more than 30 years later, remains a dear mentor and confidant to many of us. Padma invited us to come to Rashtrapati Bhavan. She became a friend of Hope and of the church. Because of her connections, we were able to get 9 acres of land worth crores of rupees free from the government. They also gave us funding to build over 700 homes for leprosy patients who were living in huts. They had no toilets, there was sewage water, there was squalor all over the place. But today that place is called the Village of Hope. It is a thriving colony with thousands of change lives. You know, another story is of Tihar Jail. We started working in the prison and providing them dental care through Hope. And we became friends with India's first police officer, Dr. Kiran Bedi. We did not make it our goal to have powerful friends. We served the poor, and God gave us much more than we could imagine. He invited into the homes and offices of the high and mighty people in this land. And that network of friends and contacts has just kept growing over the years. By God's grace, today Hope has over 850 staff and we help over 100,000 people across the country in a variety of ways. In the book of Galatians, chapter 4, verse 18, it says, "It is fine to be zealous, provided the purpose is good, and to be so always, not just when I am with you." When we were young Christians, we made mistakes. We did not involve our families in discussing or planning our wedding. We decided everything and then informed them. I still remember the look of pain on my father's face when I told him I was getting married. He was not unhappy that I was marrying Joyce, but he was sad that I didn't involve him in the planning and preparation. It was my mistake. And today, as my children have either been married or getting ready to be married, I know what a joy it is to be fully engaged in their journey. And I had zeal, but it was zeal without knowledge. It hurt my parents. It hurt my mom. It hurt my dad. And as a result, even though I loved my mom a lot and she cared for me a lot, she didn't come for my wedding. And I think it would have been different if I had to handle things differently. But in Mark chapter 10, verse 39, it says, "Truly I tell you," Jesus replied, "no one who has left home or brothers or sisters or mother or father or children or fields for me in the gospel will fail to receive 100 times as much in this present age, homes, brothers, sisters, mothers, children, and fields, along with persecutions, and in the age to come eternal life." Despite the mistakes I made and having left Bombay on a mission field a few days after getting married, God has worked powerfully in my family's life. We have visited Bombay where they stay for holidays, but have never lived there for over 32 years. God has still been gracious. Despite me not being there in person for my family for years, God has allowed the doors to open. My brother and his wife became disciples. They were followed by my mother, my sister, and her husband. My children are disciples and are either married to or will be marrying disciples. I made mistakes, but God has been gracious. Today, the church is our family, our very life. And we have been given so many more mothers, brothers, sisters, and friends. But at the same time, we have strong connection with our blood family as well. If I were to write a script about my life and the contentment that God has given me in Joyce, I wouldn't be able to write the script. But I have seen over the years that if I don't make the destination my goal, but just focus on the next step, God takes care of where I need to reach. So dear brothers and sisters, I have many stories that I can tell you at another time, but for today I hope these few stories bring you some amount of encouragement. God bless you. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Have a great day.